Hey, we're live.
Hey. Damn, took a while for chat to
Good
catch up.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Wow,
How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. We also
Good,
during the
good.
countdown we realized that we didn't turn on low latency mode, so there is quite a delay of probably about 1 minute or something. So yeah, good. But at least the questions that are trickling in are quite nice. ADHD V2 when I think I explained that one during the Gamescom stream, right? So better watch that one.
Did you? What was your answer?
Did you watch the stream?
I was there. Just so no. No, I was having lunch at that moment. Heidi and I were up top having some brats and watching it on our phone.
Yeah, I think the beginning part was quite boring, but then the ending was.
I missed the beginning part, so
yeah.
I did get to see all the Dylan thirst that was going on. That was pretty good.
Dylan first. That's good. Good. Stream on time that works. I mean, yes, on time. How's the audio level with music and everything balanced?
According to middle pickup, FFS, get your audio levels matched. Well, yeah, we make keyboards, not audio products.
Are we matched? I mean, we are.
I don't know.
Are we? Is this better? I mean, looking at my screen, it's both like -15. Stop breathing, Mark.
No.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, let's turn off this music just a tiny bit. Oh, like this. This is excellent. Now we're ready.
All right. Time to rock and roll. So, what do we got on the agenda today, Eric?
I think it's interesting to just talk about Gamescom still in general, even though we were live there 2 weeks ago. It's I think it's quite nice to because there's a lot of things going on that maybe as the public you don't realize, you don't see, which is fun.
Like all the coronavirus that was going around there and infected the entire Wooting team that went that direction.
Yes, so if the 6HE V2 is delayed, it's because of Gamescom. And what else? I mean, we could talk a little bit about ClackyCon. It's like the next convention. It's next week Saturday, I believe, in Rotterdam. We also have like a little stand there, and we bring the 6HE V2 as well. Maybe we could tease.
That'd be good for people to get their hands on it and try it out and feel the electric and switches, which do feel pretty fantastic.
That's true.
And it's really fun to take it apart and put it back together. I think I've done that 1,000 times now with the Gamescom ones.
Yeah, and of course Olab case now available in the US as well. That's
yes,
that's
indeed.
big. That's big. And
and the price increase due to tariffs wasn't nearly as much as could have been. We took a chunk of that hit and reduced margins on it and managed to not increase the price by very much. So
yeah.
I'm pretty pleased with that.
And Uncle Trump is getting the rest.
Was definitely a concern.
Nice. Good for Uncle Trump. Yeah. So anybody here in the chat who actually was at Gamescom? Because
I see Diogo was there. Gamescom Sickness Gang. Yep. Yes, indeed.
Diogo was definitely there. Yeah. So it's quite good. So I think for everybody who didn't see the last live stream or the shorts or the videos on YouTube, I highly recommend to just especially watch the video on the YouTube channel, because Marco made a shit ton of content also about the booth and what you could do.
He did a really good job.
Yeah, and also some fun shorts. And one thing that's quite interesting, so we had this keyboard wall to one side of the booth, and the keyboard wall was like 24 ADHEs hooked up together to the same computer. So Pascal made like the whole mounting system for the wall, and Diogo made sure that all the keyboards, the RGBs, were in sync with a third-party tool. And
used Artemis RGB, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was Artemis. It's better than Signal RGB, right? It's Artemis.
Did Diogo used to do some kind of work for Artemis? I don't know if that was paid or if that was just kind of on the side.
I don't know if it was paid, but he definitely contributed to the project, even led it for a while. So that's yeah. But Diogo can probably explain it better than I can. But it was actually quite fun because we could show like RGB effects in sync, do like very cool patterns. And if people touch the key, there was like this ripple effect going over the keys. And
Mm-hmm.
at one point, Yogo made it like, that you could just mirror whatever was on the screen itself. So we could rickroll people, or what
Play Bad Apple. That's a
play
good
Bad
one.
Apple. Bad Apple. That's what all the Gen Zers liked, and even the Doom one that was also quite fun. It was a bit difficult to watch, but it was very very cool. And you can also see the shorts, especially one on TikTok. I think the Doom one, last time I checked, had like 800k views, which is quite cool and insane.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
It's a lot more views than our live streams get.
Yeah. Nobody. I mean, what do you want to see? Like two weird geezers with bad lightning, or keyboards that can play Bad Apple? But that was so that was actually quite cool, and a lot of people really liked it. They just came to the booth and pressed the key, so they walked by and they saw it, and they were all like quite surprised, and that was quite fun. And,
there was one moment where two small children came sprinting into the booth at absolute like full speed and just like slammed down at every keyboard they could find, and then fucked off just like that. Oh my god!
yes,
Thank you, children.
Thank you.
That was a big difference between Gamescom and Computex. There are no children at Computex at all. Gamescom was very much so. Lots of kids running around, and some of them really wholesome moments. Some of my favorite moments were when you'd overhear a child telling their in this example I'm thinking about their grandmother all about our keyboard, and was like actually an expert on our keyboards as much as any of the Wooting staff is, and Grandma didn't understand a word of it, but she was so happy that the kid was just so engaged and so excited. It was a really wholesome moment. I like that.
Yeah, kids have like zero shame. So we, I guess our booth was like at sort of a crossroads to the toilets and to a restaurant as well, or eating area. And the toilets there, because I guess it was like sort of a crossroad, the toilets at our place were always like horrible and disgusting and overflowing. So at one point I felt like, I'm going to take a break and I'm just going to go to hall 9, a different hall, because there was like cleaner toilets. So I was doing my thing there, and then all of a sudden, like somebody touched me on the side. It was like a little kid, and he was like, of course in German, but I'm going to do English now. Like, hey, where's the Wooting booth? And I'm like, one second. So I did my thing, washed my hands. I'm like, I can walk you towards it, because I was in a different hall, right? And then it's a little bit difficult to explain where it was. And then we walked out of the toilet, and then his dad was there as well, and his dad didn't know what was happening. He felt like I'm like whatever famous influencer, right? And we talked about keyboards.
But you are famous.
No. So we talked keyboards, and then we went to the booth, and I explained everything to them, and then it was quite interesting. Like kids,
nice.
Zero shame. And but indeed, like the longer the week took, the more kids came, right? So on Wednesday was only like B2B, so 0 kids. I guess on Thursday and Friday, still the kids were still in school and couldn't participate, but then on Saturday they were.
Was school started then? I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe in Germany, do they? Germany, right? They always have school, I guess. But then on Sunday it was crazy. Like it was only kids the whole day long. But yeah, But it was quite. It was really fun.
Which can be fun, can also be exhausting.
Yeah. But I must say, I really underestimated, because we talked to some people who had Gamescom booth in the past, and also to some different booth builders and just other organizations who had booths at Gamescom. And we were like, it's so exhausting. And we were like, yeah, sure, exhausting. And Raquel really wanted to bring a lot of people, and I was always like, no, we don't need that many staff members, it's too much. And Raquel was like, yeah, but it's so exhausting. Everybody says it's exhausting. I'm like, nah. But it is actually quite exhausting, because we had like a nice shift. So we didn't have to work the booth all day long, everybody. But you start at 9 in the morning until 8 in the evening, and you have to be there ahead of time to build your booth and get your stuff out. And end of the day, you have to clean everything, pack everything,
and then you have to have dinner still.
And then you still have to have dinner. But the worst part is in the evening if you leave around 8, because that's also when it ends, right? So all the visitors are also leaving. So the train stations are clogged, the metros are clogged, the trams are clogged. You can, for the love of God, you can't get a taxi. If you came with a car or whatever, good luck getting out of the parking space with a complete traffic jam there. So it will take at least another hour, right, before you're back at the hotel. You, I don't know, freshen up, splash of water from your face, then you go to a dining place and yeah, it's
Lay down in your bed for 30 seconds. Oh,
yeah, and then you eat way too late, and then you're back to your hotel room with a full stomach. It's like, okay, now I need to sleep because I have to wake up at 7 again in the morning because I have first shift, and then you're only like seeing all these people talking to you through the whole day, like very overstimulated, and yeah,
you have no time to wind down. It's pretty rough.
And it was extremely fun for the whole day. And once you're there, right, you don't really feel this exhaustion there because it's sort of, yeah, you get like new energy from all the people who are visiting and that you talk to and you get inspired, right? And even if you told like the 8th person in a row, like, oh, this is Wooting, we make analog keyboards, it's still, you know, really, really fun. And then, but yeah, on Sunday, everyone was like, oh my God, I want to die. I want to go home.
Like that picture of you celebrating the person with a giveaway keyboard, it's just like dead on the inside.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was the last smile I could bring to a picture. Yeah, no, but it was actually it was really fun because we had a lot of fun competitions for the day. A lot of people played Switch Commit Stacks for the game. We gave away a lot of ubus. The first 2 days we did like Counter-Strike tournaments, like 1v1, a second day parkour challenge. But we've noticed that Counter-Strike, it's quite a sweaty game, let's say, and people waiting in queue, it was like, yeah, if something feels unfair, everybody's like getting pissed, and that wasn't the vibe we wanted to go after. So on a Saturday and Sunday,
we also
played, like,
got told
Trackmania.
off for showing Counter-Strike on the TV above the booth.
But that's
apparently because it's a mature game, you're not allowed to show that on the TV because there are children around. Whoops.
I mean,
so I guess we couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the worst thing?
Yeah.
Right? What's the worst that can happen? That's sure. I mean, there were like worse titty things a few booths down the line, I guess. Anyway, it was really a very interesting experience, and probably I'm not saying we will, but maybe we'll do it next year again. We have an internal debrief next week, Tuesday, where we go through all the good and the bad things. And then I think we also have to see, financially how much it costs in the end. And
yeah, it's extremely expensive to do a thing like that. It's, the booth itself is enormously expensive, right? And then you send 15 people that way, put them up in hotels and feed them and, all that kind of stuff. It gets to be pretty pricey. And so then you got to ask yourself, what is the value that is brought to Wooting by being there? And for a lot of companies that are at Gamescom, they're doing some kind of release or like a new game, or they're doing some kind of networking or something like that, but that's not really what Wooting is there for. The way that I see it is that our presence at that event is more about what we can contribute to people who are not at that event. So how can we create content around it and share the experience of Wooting with people who aren't able to be there? That's a much larger market than those who are able to physically get there. And then for the few who can get there themselves, I mean, I had dozens, if not hundreds, of conversations with people who had never before experienced the Wooting keyboard, who had never gotten their hands on it before, and once they got their hands on it, then that is to influence them to make a purchase, because then they can feel it with their own fingers and feel the quality and how it feels and sounds and their experience. But that piece of it, that alone is not enough to justify the expense. It's not like we got tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands worth of revenue from people who touched the keyboards and then decided to buy. That's no way.
No. So one thing I can definitely conclude is with your booth. If we, so I think Jeroen also briefly mentioned this last week when I spoke with him, where you actually need to make a sort of just a hangout place for people to hang out and talk keyboards, and that's it. You don't need to make it too complicated or too fancy. And I think our booth was a little bit small this time, and we wanted to do too much with the booth, but I think it also felt like sort of a house moving castle at the end of the week, which was quite fun, because there was
And the
like
cabinets were falling apart.
so there was also like a other Chinese manufacturer booth sort of across from us, and they also had like magnetic key. I can't for the love of God, I can't remember the brand. It was like something with a spider, and they also had like magnetic keyboards, but that felt so corporate lame with like
So sterile,
some esports people there that nobody knows in Europe, and some keyboard images, and then people could try it out there. And I mean, not to shit on the booth, right? It's probably good effort from their side, and it really fits their brand, I would assume. But it just felt like, oh, this is 10 in a dozen, and
yeah, it was a really good showcase for their products, but it wasn't anything about the vibe or the community or anything along those lines. It doesn't give you that homely feeling. It was very, very sterile, I think is the best way to put it. And that's something that our booth had a lot of character to it. There's all those different areas, even though it was very small. There was the center area where you could touch and feel the different keyboards. There was the modding wall, which was probably my favorite part, is all the modded keyboards that were there. And then the gaming sections. There's a lot of different things to look at and a lot of ways to utilize that space.
Definitely.
I think one thing that I was talking to Calder about this. So one of the things that he noticed is that there wasn't really much opportunity to interface with people who would either have their own keyboards or would want to figure out what kind of modding they want to do to their keyboards to get the sound profile that they wanted. Because with the 60HEV2, you could pull it apart, right, and get the two different sound dampening materials, and that makes a big difference. But that was really the only kind of showcase that we could do on how do you change the experience of the keyboard itself. And so there was some conversations being had about what can we do about that next year. And I'm not going to give any spoilers of what that might entail, but that modding is a very interesting component of that. That's really hands-on. It could be quite interesting.
Mark's looping station. So one thing maybe next to what we should do, but maybe there's also good input for Computex, is where we just have a chamber that's like isolated from sound with like a nice thick oak tabletop. So people can just do sound tests, record sound tests, listen to the audio. Because I think all the influencers and YouTubers and reviewers that were at Computex, they were like, oh, I promise the 6HE sounds amazing, but I can't let it hear it because there's so much noise, there's so much crap going on. And
but I don't think that's feasible.
Why not?
We had at Computex, we had an area that was separate, that like behind a closed door. But if to make that a closed room where there was, so that particular area had like an open section of the back wall that gives it some space and some air. If it was totally closed, it would feel like a stuffy closet. That's not great. But then that area is quite loud. There's no way around that.
Yeah, but you have some nice sound dampening materials on all sides, and
if you want to do that, you'd have to do it outside of the convention halls. Get like a separate area. And at Computex, they do have those areas where you go away from the floor and you can rent or get some kind of space specifically for video content. So that might be something we could consider for that. But at the booth, I don't think that's going to work.
Ooh.
Yeah, just trying to be realistic.
Yeah, and we need a intern next year at the booth who can either go on coffee runs constantly or knows how to make coffee. So we just put like an espresso bar somewhere in the booth.
Ooh,
that would be
Because now that's a way to justify going to Gamescom. Set up a little coffee stand and get some revenue that way. Hey.
So there was this only one. Well, there were two okay coffee places, but one was like very good, and it was in the hall above us. But it was always like a line of 15 to 20 minutes.
Right next to the crepes.
Next to the crepes.
Yeah, that was really good. I got coffee there a number of times.
Yeah, but it was always such a long wait time, And if we get coffee, then we get like 12 coffee orders in one. So everybody's like pissed, like, oh, why does it take so long? And, okay, yeah. But yeah, so next year, bigger keyboard wall, silent room, espresso machine. What else? George Clooney.
And a large table for Yulun to sit at and lube everybody's switches for them.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I was also quite surprised how many people came with their Wooting keyboards and wanted signatures on them or like a postcard or whatever. And yeah, it's really fascinating hearing all those stories, how people either discovered us right or what they think about us. And yeah, it's very very good. And then afterwards, like
Yeah, and it's
Mark,
cool seeing some folks that were community members in the Discord that speak very frequently there and are known entities there that can put them face to face. That's pretty cool as well.
I think so. It was very yeah. And then afterwards, everybody exhausted and sick for a few days, and most of us had COVID as well. I still cannot smell, which is I mean, it's the way it is, right?
Yeah, it's probably for the better for you though.
I think so. Yeah. And but glad to be home again. But again, I'm still sort of recovering from it. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm seeing also a lot of questions here. I'm seeing something about macros, and of course, macros is a hot topic, right? We are currently investigating because we used to have macros in the past through this automation app, and it had some bugs and quirks, and at some point we sort of fridged it, and we said like, hey, we're going to explore and revisit this idea in the future, but we're going to include it maybe in a utility or whatever. And now Simon, Pola are making the groundworks for this, and so Pola sent out a survey on Discord, and we shared it also through email to get feedback, right? Why people want macros, how to use it, what type of macros they want to use, how much they're expecting from us, and what they expect it to be and do, right? And so I don't know how long it will take if we are going to implement macros, but we're now sort of in a research phase, right? Seeing what's possible, what's not possible. So don't get your hopes up, and I doubt it will be ready before the end of.
Well, I think that realistically, there's ways to take bites of the puzzle at piece by piece. That we don't have to have a ginormous. This is everything you could ever want from macros in one release, but we could take pieces of what we receive from that feedback survey and say, this is a bite-sized piece that we could implement with some reasonable expectation for time. Of course, dev time is a nebulous thing. It always takes much longer than one hopes it does. But hey, that's just nature of things.
Nebulous.
But yeah, there's bits and pieces of it that I think would be feasible to implement quickly, and then there's pieces that would require a very substantial rework or reconsideration for how things are done.
Yeah.
They say that 80% of the dev work takes 80% of the time, and then the other 20% of the dev work also takes 80% of the time.
There you go. That sounds about. Oh, is the macro series still up? I thought we closed it today or the 5th of. Oh, well, anyway, fill it in. It's very useful. So if you haven't, I think in the end, if you fill in your email address or your Discord name, you can also have a chance to win an ADHE, which is quite nice. So did you ever use macros, Mark, for something?
Yeah, I use macros for Windows Alt key codes. But I use it for DKS with DKS rather. That I hold Alt and then have on an FN layer a DKS code that does the numpad keys. So I use that for like the euro sign, the pound sign, those kinds of things.
Oh, interesting.
And then in Satisfactory, I've got a jump bind set up where it does the jump and slide.
You know how I get my euro sign? I Google it, euro sign, I copy paste it.
You boomer.
I don't know how to do. I know how to do it on Mac, but I don't know how to do it on Windows. It's horrible.
There was at one point talk about some way to implement having Windows Alt key codes be something that utility as the firmware understands what you're trying to accomplish, and so you could have it as just like a mappable key, and then that would get translated via the firmware into the Windows Alt key codes. But I don't know where that's at. That's one of those.
You know how I used macros
ideas.
back in the day? I had this Logitech G15 keyboard with like all the macros on the side. You could live record macros. So one thing I did with Guild Wars 1, there was like some farm around the gates of Kryda. You could just control it completely with your keyboard and just farm. So just put on the things. And I think there were like the 3 different sort of spawning things, how mobs could spawn. So 1 and 3 it worked, and the other 2 times it didn't, but you just press the macro and then 10 minutes later you come back and there's all this loot, or you're dead, right? And that's how I farm. Another one was also in Guild Wars. We had a guild called Wooting the Wood for the Wood. I mean, of course.
Back in the day.
And I had like this big
origin story here.
ASCII art of wood that went over like 5 chat lines, which would take over the whole chat because the chat was like 5 or 6 lines long or something. So I just pressed it right and then like filled it in. It was like big like wood in the chat, and it looked very nice.
Nice.
And always when we had PvP battles, always like wood, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to report you for using macros, blah blah." And if they ever told me to report me for macros, I just DM'd them constantly the wood thing until they blocked me.
What a troll. I used to use an auto hotkey script to spam E to pick up stones on the beach in Ark way back in the day, back when I did competitive Ark Survival Evolved.
Ark Survival Evolved. The dino game.
Yeah, that's an addicting game. Don't try it. It's not worth it. So now I play other addicting games like Satisfactory. Factory must expand.
RimWorld. Satisfactory. So how long have you been playing it? Because I also have friends who play Satisfactory, and they played it since very a few years, right? But it just keeps on evolving, and then new patch.
Yeah, I only started playing it since the full release, the 1.0 release, which is about a year ago, roughly or so.
Yeah.
It's something that had always been kind of on my radar, but that I finally picked it up, and I've been playing with a good buddy of mine. We play lots of games together. So I do the mega build creative stuff, and he does the actually useful progression stuff, and so it's a good combo.
That sounds like a good combo. Yeah, it's very very interesting game. It's not for me, but it's definitely a very interesting game.
And then of course RimWorld, my favorite game of all time, but there's no need for macros in RimWorld.
Good. Yeah, good. I'm also seeing that this is a nice bridge that the chat made. The Olab case. When is Wooting Olab case second wave releasing? Last Tuesday.
This
right?
Tuesday.
Last Tuesday.
3 days ago.
Yeah, that's last Tuesday. Next Tuesday is Tuesday, right? And then 3 days ago, that's last Tuesday. Don't you say it in English like last Tuesday? Past Tuesday? This Tuesday? This Tuesday.
We don't have a look back.
No. So anyway, it's you can now get it. It's fantastic. You can get it in the US as well. I think it's a case that's not for everybody. It's really expensive. It's for people who like this type of cases, and people who probably purchase this case are also familiar with Olab, and Olab is more of a luxurious keyboard brand in China. They're very big there. And one thing that's very interesting is they can always make their keyboard sound. I call it like the Olab way, where it's like very deep and more rich. And that's what I think is very fun about this whole keyboard kit, because if you put our PCBA in there with their keyboard kit and put some nice cherry profile PBT keycaps on there, you really get this deeper poppy sounds, even with the
PBT keycaps or nylon keycaps?
I would say PBT keycaps. I don't know. Nylon keycaps aren't that popular, right? Are there many things available? I mean, chat, help. Yeah.
It's got a very interesting sound profile, though.
They do. They definitely do. It's nylon keycaps are very interesting because they are light. They're very light. So I think your first glance, if you hold nylon keycaps, you think like, wow, these are very cheap keycaps. They are so light and they feel flimsy in a way. But if you put them on a keyboard, it's really nice because the material is a little bit, I wouldn't say flexible, but it's less hard than PBT. And with PBT, right, if you drop like keys on your desk, you hear like these high tones because the plastic is quite hard. So there's less, well, the vibrations is like very minimal. So very high vibrations than the sound you're getting from it. But with nylon, because it's probably a softer material, If you drop it on your desk, the sound is a lot deeper. Yeah.
Which is a very reasonable, normal thing for people to do, just to drop keyboards or keycaps on their desk randomly, instead of having them installed on the keyboard.
Yes. No, but I mean, sure, but this is how you can sort of experience the sound, right? Because yeah, all the sounds that you can hear by just throwing it on the ground, right? That's also what you can produce with your keyboard in a less extreme manner. But then if you put like nylon keycaps on a keyboard, it also makes it sound less high pitched. Yeah. Yeah, it's very
And then the Olab case also comes with that carbon fiber plate, right? So that also has a pretty big impact on sound. And it's a very rigid plate.
It is, yeah, yeah, and they do also another trick where they have like a little plastic, I think it's PET film between the PCBA and the switches, and that really sort of kills a lot of high tones as well to create this deeper, hey Dali, to create this deeper sound profile. So it's very, yeah, it's very good. Good. Oh, this is an interesting question. Do you have plans to lower the prices of the keyboards? I think now they are kind of overpriced because so many alternative keyboards there are. I think no, because we price our keyboards quite fairly, I would say. We want to, make a little profit from it, get a return on investment, make sure that everybody gets paid, and that's why we have set this price, and that's why we keep our price quite similar. We don't do discounts with our products. We don't do crazy things. We even increase the price from time to time to sort of compensate inflation. And we think that's just fair because it doesn't matter if you purchase a keyboard now or in 2 or 3 years. You don't have a feeling like, oh, I missed out on a deal, or now it's all of a sudden cheaper. Our business
and I believe that we add a lot of value that is much more than just like the headline keyboard on your desk, right? Because we have one of the biggest things that I think that should be shouted from the rooftops is 4-year warranty on our keyboards, and that's pretty huge, right? So if you have a problem 3 years down the road and you need to get a new PCBA, then that's covered under warranty. And I don't know of any other keyboard brand that does that. And then the other continuous support that we offer for our keyboards. Like the very first keyboard, the Wooting 1, we still ship software updates to it, and that was 8-9 years ago now that keyboard launched. That's something that most of those companies that are racing to the bottom in price, that's where they start to cut those corners, and how they can justify that is they'll build something, they'll launch it, and then they'll never touch it again. So you get what you get, and it just stays that way. And maybe that's worth the cost to a person, but with a Wooting keyboard, it's always going to have the best of the best that, whatever the hardware can support, it can be done. And if the hardware can't support it, then you can get an upgrade to just that hardware piece, right? So if you got a 60HE way back in the day, and now you're 2-3 years down the road and you're like, I'm ready to get an upgrade, you could get just the module version of the 60HE V2, and you can get all the benefits from that, like go for the split space bar, right? Or, those kinds of things. New PC plate, the friction fit mounting. And that's something that continuous support for long periods of time, for as long as possible, that's super important for us.
Yeah, and even though if we make because what you see with a lot of brands, right? They have like a few versions, have like a budget version, a mid-range version, a premium version. And so they have like 3 products in every, let's say 3 products for 60% keyboard, just to cater towards more markets. And one thing that we do is we just want to focus on analog keyboards. And why should we? Because as you probably notice, compared to other companies, we don't poop out keyboards every few months. We take a time to see what's going on, what's like trends, what are hypes.
How can even hit once a year?
How can we improve our keyboards over time? And we're trying to gauge like what's the demand of the market, and then we just make a keyboard for that. And we're trying to, when we make a keyboard, we want it to last for many years, right? So yeah, and because our strategy isn't locking stuff behind software things and then putting that only in the newest models, I don't know. It's yeah. That's why we don't have budget models or mid-range models, models. And one thing what Mark always says is the race to the bottom is something we cannot win. Even though if you make like the cheapest keyboard and even sell it at a loss, let's say, or almost break even, then we can't even come close to some of these Chinese manufacturers that claim to offer the same thing, right? Or even look the same as us. Yeah.
Hell,
Yeah.
taking apart my Christmas decorations.
Oh no, it's Christmas already. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's it. And if you think Wooting keyboard is too expensive for your needs or outside of your budget, that's fine as well, right? Because these days there are more options available. You can search for like whole fat keyboards and analog keyboards, right, and find something that is within your price range. So yeah, so definitely go for that then. It's also
Yeah, and I
sometimes.
think it's a good opportunity also to talk about what did we do when we recognized that there was an opportunity in the market for lots of people who wanted the benefits of Wooting keyboards but couldn't quite reasonably afford the price point of the 68G at that time, and that's when we launched the Uwu. Because for Osu in particular, having access to rapid trigger and Hall effect was extremely important to be able to be competitive and to have the best experience in that game. But you don't need a full keyboard for that, and so we aimed to develop a product that would fit that niche, and I think that went really well.
I think so. Yeah. And what you're saying is the thing is you were putting the prices there when there were no alternatives anymore. Now there are so many, which is why I think that it's overpriced. A lot of people said like, hey, why don't you increase the price if you're so high in demand, if people just purchase it anyway? Like a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say like if you look outside from the Wooting business and you talk to other business people, say like, hey, you're insane if you don't have any competitors and you can't even keep stock. Why would you sell it for the price? You should just ask double the amount of money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that comes down to we do think we we make our products a fair pricing and yeah, leave it as is. And yeah, so I still don't think it's overpriced for what you're getting for Wooting keyboard. And one thing that really that helped me also, well, not that I think about pricing a lot, but one thing that's quite an interesting insight at Gamescom is um, because analog keyboards are more like the standard now when it comes to competitive gaming or esports, right? You have a lot of people who were familiar with whole fat keyboards and have whole fat keyboards from other brands at home. And some people were like trying out the Wooting at our booth and they were like, wow, this is a night and day difference when it comes to response, what you can do with it, and accuracy and precision, and the things you could do with the software. And sometimes you need to, I guess, experience it to see the difference. And I think a lot of these competitor keyboards, especially the ones on the cheaper end, they work decently good, maybe great the first couple of weeks, but then they degrade very quickly in quality and when it comes to analog sensing and inputs and that kind of things. And especially if
Well,
you
I
then use
think
it
it's
for. Hmm?
I think it's also worth pointing out that when somebody purchases a keyboard in that kind of market segment, that they're probably not going to have a comparison point of
Hmm.
what the Wooting keyboard would be, and so they have this keyboard that for them, just the sheer fact of it being Hall effect gives it a lot of advantages in latency. So it's still faster than their previous mechanical keyboard, but they don't recognize that it's like, it could be so much more responsive, more consistent, more reliable, better sounding, better feeling, better experience.
Yeah. And also, if you think that our keyboards are overpriced and you cannot afford it, then I also wouldn't recommend to get our keyboard from us because
Mm-hmm.
normal keyboards, normal mechanical keyboards, they're also still quite fine, right? Nothing wrong with it. And sure, you can get some benefits here with whole effect analog keyboards when it comes to gaming, but uh, yeah.
Yeah, the reality is that if our keyboard is kind of out of your reasonable price range, then the chances are that there's other portions or components of your setup that if you were to spend that money there instead, like the CPU or the GPU, save up and invest in getting those, or even a better monitor, that might have a much bigger impact on your overall gaming experience than the keyboard.
Yeah, good. And of course, right? We are a Dutch company, we're Dutch people. we love money, so we need to maximize profits. How else I'm going to afford this epic office with like crappy boxes? Yeah,
Man, you've been living there how long now, and you still haven't unpacked your boxes? Shame.
shame on me. I mean, it's nice because this is more efficient than a cupboard, right? You just put it in boxes, and if you don't need it anymore, you put it in storage, and then that's it.
That's right. That's why I put all my boxes up in there in that little section that you can't quite see. I just yeet them up there, and then they're gone, out of sight, out of mind. And that's like Dali's playhouse, where she causes trouble and makes weird sounds that I don't know what the hell she's doing up there.
That's nice. Yeah. One thing that's like, interesting in the chat here, I see a lot of talk about the 8HE V2. I don't know where exactly that idea came from. It's like, oh, you now have a 6HE V2, we need an 8HE V2. I mean, please shout for Wooting 2HE V2 because we desperately need
Full size, best size.
Full
Woo!
size, best size. Yay. But
One day, our dreams will come true.
yeah, I'm thinking, how would you improve? I mean, there are always things you can improve with the 8HE, right? But I think it's quality-wise still very good, so I don't think we would need a V2 for that anytime soon. No.
Well, hardware-wise, it's up there among the fastest keyboards in the world. So that there's no meaningful improvements to be had there, at least not that are measurable. So then it's just about the quality of experience, right? So Lecker Chicken switches, having those pre-installed on the keyboard, that'd be a pretty good move.
That's pretty good. And this is also it, right, Mark? If you have like a Wooting 6HE from 3 years ago and you want to have a new fresh feeling, you just buy a little switch pack like a ticket, and you also have a nice new feeling keyboard. I also saw some talk about TMR in the chat. I'm not going in depth or even talk about this topic during this stream. I know because there are some reviewers, right, who are talking about it, how TMR is better than Hall effect in every other way, and it's sort of not completely true. And I mean, both technologies have their pros and their cons, right? So they always make like a very unfair comparisons, like, oh, let's compare all the cons from Hall effect with all the pros from TMR, which doesn't make any sense, right? Because if you do it the other way around, then Hall effect would come out as the winner. But to clear this up, TMR and what it means, right, or what it exactly is, we're going to release a video about this probably within the next 2 months somewhere. We're now sort of prepping this
That's
video.
news to me. Cool.
Yeah. So that way we can, have a better, correcter information out there when it comes to TMR.
Yeah, and something for us to reference as well for when people reach out to customer service, for example, that it's not reasonable to expect that every person at Wooting is an expert in different sensor technologies, but being able to have that documentation to be able to share that from the folks who do have that expertise, that's really good. So I know a couple of things here and there, but by no means do I know what all those differences are. There's some other things that were mentioned here, things like colors and case. Raquel really wants a pink case. I would say that those are things that would not be related to a version of the ADHE, right? Those would be just accessory products, which I do support getting more colors, but people should buy more of the colored products that we already have, and then we can consider more colors for more other things. And then PSG777 made an interesting comment on a design change, or at least plastic change, so the center is not flexing anymore. And that's a really interesting statement, because there's, I guess that's something that has perplexed me for a little while now, is that there is a perception in the broader world that a plastic that flexes is therefore lower quality. And I'm not a big fan of that perception, but I do understand why that gets perceived that way. But one thing that I think is worth pointing out that maybe that most people aren't aware of is that the reason that our ADHE plastic case does have a little bit more flex than what would otherwise be considered normal for a keyboard of that kind of plastic is that we use 80% post-consumer recycled plastic. I think it's 80%. Don't quote me on that number. But post-consumer recycled plastic has has a lot more give to it. And so this was a choice that we made at Wooting to have, some kind of acknowledgement of the amount of plastic waste that does get produced, and how we can have some kind of, even if it's a small impact, a not insignificant one, to improving our environment for that.
And to even elaborate on that is why it also flexes more is because it has a PC plate in there, right? So if it had a steel plate, it would flex a little bit less. And I don't know if you're actually referring to like flexing the whole keyboard PSG, or if it's more like the gasket mount
I think what they
itself.
mean is when they're pressing down on the center here. Of course, I have a zinc case, so it's not going to flex at all. But
Yeah.
when you press down in the middle there, you can get some flex on the plastic cases. That is true.
But one thing that we've noticed, at least feedback from pro players, is the 8HE is very nice to type on, right? Because of the gasket mount and the PC plate. So especially if you hit keys dead center, like the H or the Y, you probably see the whole keyboard flexing a little bit, and that's intended, right? But one thing that we didn't realize, or at least the feedback we get from pro players, is what they really want is, if they press WASD, a really hard ending. Because normal with mechanical keyboards, the ending is very hard, at least the keyboards they are used to. And that's why some people don't like the 8HE, or at least some pro players don't like the 8HE to play on, because the end key press feels mushy in the heat of the moment, because they press the keys really hard, right? And some pro players, we gave them a different type of plate, like we experimented with steel and what's the other one again? The
FR4.
FR4, yeah, and those are just harder and stiffer. And the feedback we got instantly was like, oh, this feels like a night and day difference. So definitely that's something we could and maybe should do down the line, is offer different plates for the 8HE.
So it's interesting because I'm kind of in the opposite camp with that. That I don't like a mushy feeling at the end of the key press, but I do like a more softer feeling, because if I'm typing for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, then over time you can really feel that fatigue in the fingers. And that's something that when I was using the 60% keyboard with the Alumays, when I had it tray mounted, I could really feel that, because it just felt like I'm tapping on straight metal the whole time. But now I've got that friction fit in there, and that's a huge night and day difference for me. So it is still stiffer because it was a 60H EV2 in there, so it's got the FR4 plate. But then it still has that friction fit that gives it just that little bit of give at the end of key press, and I like that. Much more comfortable for me.
Yeah, and now that we're on a topic, and I see that Snow Rowcraft already answered this one, but I still think it's nice to demo it. Okay, guys. So other mean asks, can you guys explain how the friction fit from the V2 works? From what I understand, friction fit wholly is not possible, right? And it is possible, right? So this is a earlier sample of the 6HE V2, and how the friction fit work is there's like the between the switch plate and the PCBA, there's this layer which is a mix of boron and silicone, and because this extends just a little bit, you can maybe see it here, just a few millimeters, it can fit the case just by squishing it in, right? And then it stays here and doesn't come out. But one thing that a lot of third-party cases don't have, that you can, where you friction fit them, and let me see if I can get it out without the tool, because I'm a expert salesman, is normally when your keyboard is screwed into the keyboard, it either has like a little cable that goes from the PCBA to the keyboard, or the screw makes sure that the keyboard is grounded to the case. And with a friction fit, because there's no contact screws-wise with the case, you don't have any grounding, which can fry your PCBA, right? If you have an electromagnetic discharge or something, which is still rare. But to circumvent it, is we added this little sponge thing here, that you can see, that little gray thing. That's just little metal sponge, and that makes sure that the keyboard is grounded here, because here's like an exposed plate grounded with the case. And a lot of third-party cases don't have it, and some cases that have a certain coating, right, whether it's painted or something, you can't even make this connection. So yeah, so it fits. And I think in 99.9999995% of the time, nothing will be going on, and your keyboard will work fine for years, and your keyboard probably will die after you died, right? So, but there is always a chance where there is some electromagnetic discharge that can either ruin your keyboard or even worse, maybe fry you, which I guess.
Well, I don't think you're going to get any kind of life-threatening shock from a USB port, but indeed it can do some electrostatic discharge, can do some damage to the PCBA.
Yes.
Though that can be mitigated or prevented entirely by screwing in just one of the standoffs. And if you are like me and you appreciate that flex still, it is possible to get screws that have like the screw itself has a spring in it.
Yeah.
I don't have any way to find a link for that to show what I mean with that. Maybe somebody in chat can help with that, but that is an option as well.
Yeah. Hey, Lewis. On the game screen, you get a red and white keyboard strap, right? I wanted to know how much were produced from them. Those straps, I don't know exactly how many were produced, but I know for Gamescom we had at least 500. We also gave them at Computex away, the same strap, so a few thousand, I think. Yeah.
We have one box left that's going to go to give away at ClackyCon. So if you have a chance to go to ClackyCon, you can get a strap there.
You can get a strap.
And then once those are gone, they're gone.
They're gone. So, then we have to wait until we make
forever.
More. I mean, they're quite cool, right? The keychains and stuff, and yeah.
Niels has a whole collection of different straps.
Really?
That I think it was Niels. Pretty sure it was.
Can imagine. Okay. Good. I think those were in general the questions I've seen in the chats, which is good. So what else is on the list?
Yeah, the chat is yelling and screaming that you've got a top chat on instead of live chat, and so you're missing all of the fun stuff.
What's live chat? What's the difference between top chat and live chat?
Top chat is just for the most what YouTube thinks are the chats that you want to see versus all of the chat.
Oh, now I have live chat. Okay.
Don't worry, you haven't missed anything.
No, right? I mean, just I only want to talk with the VIPs anyway.
Other Mean has a question: would Wooting ever sell custom straps? That would be super nice. Have some AliExpress ones, but they're beyond bad. That's not really something that we're set up to do, but especially not from like a shipping standpoint. We are not set up to ship small light things. I would suggest that you get into contact with some local artist or some kind of local producer. I got a custom strap on my 60HE here. That this was a keychain that I found in Taiwan. It's just like a random shop, and I put our little silicone attachment thing on there, and it fits perfectly. So you still got the little keychain piece, and I love it. It's perfect. So
you can also
scout around local craft shops.
You could also Google for strap-ons, right? That you can strap on the keyboard. Strap-ons.
Oh my god.
No, so custom straps, no, but we should offer more different straps. That's something I can agree on. Yeah, it's just fun.
Maybe we do have different kinds of straps for different products. So like the Alumaze comes with a black and white strap. The 60HE comes with the white and black strap. No, the black and yellow. I don't even know anymore. It's been so long since I've had one of those. And then the silver anodized version of the 60HE V2 comes with a white and yellow strap. It's a pretty unique one I haven't seen out there yet.
No. Okay, good. Well, so talking about the pre-order of the 60HE V2, that's something I cannot talk about when that will happen. But
what a tease! Oh my god!
But we are really working hard behind the scenes to make this a very cool and fun launch and do something different than what we did with the other.
Well, we're doing a live stream. Maybe the others are working.
Founders campaign, yeah, sure. But yeah. I mean, okay. Anyway, so at the end of this month, what we're going to do is we're going to sort of refresh the 6HE V2 page with more information. So currently the 6HE V2 page, right, it's more focused on like, hey, what's the difference between the 6HE V2 and the V1? So we're going to make the information better, more cohesive and more complete, because there are, of course, also many things that you can do with the 6HE that you can do with the V2 that's now not really properly explained on the page. So we will add more information and cool visuals to the page. And then we also came up with a very fun thing for the community that will also be ready at the end of the month to do on this page. And it has something to do with balaclavas and stealing. And yeah, that's all I can
Oh boy,
all I can
getting
say
real
about
close
it.
to leaking. We've had a leak-free stream so far.
This is just a teaser. It's quite fun,
Okay,
and
all right.
I think it's going to be fun. So it won't be available next month, but there will be some cool things on the 6HE V2 landing page, and hopefully we can also have a clearer timeline when we're going to do pre-orders now, because we set Q4 2025. We're still doing our best to go into Q4 2025, but we're also running into some small nitbits right before PVT, and we're trying to solve it, and maybe that can jeopardize things, but it really depends on what will happen in the next few weeks. So also more information on that then as well. Yeah, but it's exciting. So make sure to get ready to get some stealing going on. And I also, and then now the second thing I've seen from, I'm gonna call you Jaku, Erik Switchy is getting Euro Tour in 2026. It better be. So one thing that we're looking for is, for events, is that we have this big switchy suit for somebody to wear the whole day long.
Oh, good God.
I think if you let me know what your size is and your weight, we will make it happen. You can be switchy for all our events in 2026. That's fun, right? So this was also, oh, that's very cute. Hello, Dali. We need more cats on stream, more pussy. So at Gamescom, another booth that was very close to us was the one from Cult of the Lamb, and I don't even know exactly what they announced. Maybe a new expansion, a new DLC.
Yeah,
but
new DLC. Yeah,
but a few times a day, like the lamp that
this giant mascot.
yeah, this giant mask, like
Hilarious.
the main character just came out, right, and it was like walking around the booth like in a whole big circle around the booth, because it was like a freestanding booth, and everybody had like followers walking behind him, and then the crowd walked as well behind it. It was super cute. Yeah, it was very good.
And then when it was over, it would get like shepherded back into the bar and be like, go back into your jail for the next 4 hours.
Yeah, it was so funny because they had like these door where the person with the suit goes back into, right? And then 10 minutes later, you see like a guy come out completely sweat, like, yeah. So we need a switchy cosplay. So just your size and your weight, and then we can make it happen. Yeah. And then,
then also please submit a video of you doing your best switchy impression to like the pressing and whatnot, so that we could judge that and pick the best switchy.
Yeah, but there is no breaks. You cannot take the suit off. You need to stay in character for the whole event.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. Switchy doesn't take any breaks. You game it 12 hours at a time. It stays being a Switch.
Oh my God, can you imagine we all have like these super soakers full of lube, and then hold the crowd, let's lube Switchy.
Oh boy.
Switch
very I mean, must be Friday afternoon.
The stem better moves, right? So people can hit it like in the suit. That's quite nice. Yeah, I like this. This is very good. Good. Then the events for 2026 are planned, and everything is in. Okay, good. I don't have anything else to say. I really want to get the stream over with, because I need to go open Steam and squash some bugs. Not that I'm developing, I'm playing Silksong.
Okay.
Yeah. Need to kill the bugs.
I thought you were talking about Helldivers, spreading democracy one bug at a time.
No, Helldivers not for me. It's a fun game.
Tony's been playing some Helldivers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, you should try Cult of the Lamb, or even better, Silksong. Oh, this one is interesting. The plastic version of the V2 mentioned in the Q&A will come at the same time as the aluminum V2 or later. It's probably going to be later. Because originally we envisioned, right, the 6HE V2 with just having a full aluminum case, because we tweaked everything around it to make it work in this aluminum case and make it superb and fantastic and everything. And now we
And then a little
realized,
thing called Section 232 tariffs came around, and we had to reevaluate some of those choices.
yes, because of Uncle Trump and tariff things, we decided like, okay, maybe it is good to, because a lot of cost of the keyboard goes actually into this aluminum case compared to a plastic version. So the plastic version is sort of a afterthought, and I think we're still at the phase where we still need to finalize the mold and do some tweakings and stuff for the plastic version. So that won't be available in this year. That will probably be like early next year because that can be available. So yes, there will be a plastic version available down the line, but it won't be available at the start. But probably once we open pre-orders, you could pre-order it, but then you have to wait a little bit longer. And yeah, I think so. Yeah, because it's only fair for the people who want to get a plastic version, right? To know what to get.
I guess, yeah, if we want to let them participate in the pre-order campaign, that would make sense, yeah.
Yes.
It'd be kind of a shame, or a worse experience to pre-order something that some people get in a month and then some people get in, much longer. That would be a little unfortunate, but yeah. We'll have to see on that one what the decision is.
Can I smoke in a Switchy suit? Fuck no. Can you imagine? You put like the hat of like
cigarettes or weed. That's two very different things. I don't know.
Both are not okay, I guess.
I guess not.
Horrible. Okay, good. I'm okay, Tony. Thanks. Are you? But I am. I mean, I don't know why. Why do we do streams at the end of the week? Like, I'm always like in sort of funny,
Right?
exhausting mode, and it's yeah. I don't know. We should definitely
Best comic relief.
Yes, we should do it on Wednesday or something. Wednesday morning. Hotbox switches. There you go. So, anybody, any plans for the weekend?
The factory must expand.
The factory. So, Mark, when is Battlefield 6 releasing? Because we're like a dream
October,
team
right?
together,
Somewhere.
right?
Yeah, we did pretty well. Yeah, kick some ass.
Did we ever lose one game? I don't think so. Maybe one.
If we did, I've completely blocked that from my memory, and now I live in reality where we did not. So
We did
no,
not, right? No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Yep, Battlefield was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it, but I don't know if I'm going to pay for it. It wasn't that much fun.
Oh.
I'm very cheap when it comes to video games. My Steam library is so long, man. I got all these games I could play and have fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, how... if you, for example, look at Silksong, right? And of course, these days, Silksong is sort of the second coming of Christ because it's a $20 game with, I don't know, if it has like half of the content the original Hollow Knight had, then it's an amazing game, right? And yeah. But of course, it's not a game for everybody. And then when you look at it, Battlefield, like I think the base game is like, what, 60 or 70 euros. And then you have like the deluxe edition, it's 90 euros. And then like the epic stealth edition.
Yeah, and then you get the battle pass, you buy skins, and Lord knows whatever else.
Oh yeah, battle pass. Crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. I fully support Battlefield. I want them to do well, but first-person shooters, man, it's too sweaty for me. I like to be able to take my time with video games.
Well, to be fair, right, from all the online shooters, Battlefield is probably the most casual one.
Yeah, true. And I had the most fun with that relative. Well, maybe Helldivers was more fun, but that's just a little bit more outlandish. But yeah. I couldn't play Call of Duty or a Fortnite or something like that, or Apex. No thanks. It's too much for me.
Well, Call of Duty is always fun, right? I mean, the gameplay is quite tight. It's quite fun, but it's all the same, I guess. And yeah, oh well. But then again, as soon as the game has like a competitive mode like Overwatch, or I think even Counter-Strike has a competitive mode, right? Or...
Bring back Left 4 Dead 2. Let's go.
Oh, Left 4 Dead 2.
That's probably my favorite shooter of all time.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Got a couple thousand hours in that game. Almost went pro. Almost the one that got away.
The one that got away. Jesus. I mean, I play a lot of Team Fortress 2. That was my jam.
Heck yeah. You could stack all the different hats that you got. It's good stuff.
I played it when there weren't any hats. I think the first 2 years there were like less hats, and then they introduced some other guns, but that's about it. Yeah. Oh well, good. So, any more questions from the chat? Otherwise, gonna close in the stream.
Give it one more question for somebody to ask. First one that comes in with one.
So let me explain why Battlefield is not sweaty compared to Counter-Strike, Valorant, Overwatch, or Call of Duty or whatever, right? Because in Battlefield, I can make have some fun, right? Just walk all the way around the map and trying to, blow up a sniper or trying to knife a sniper, and nobody cares, right, what I'm doing. But if you're in a game like Overwatch, where the teams are very small, like 5 against 5, for example, you really need to perform, right? If you don't fill your role in a good manner, your teammates are going to be pissed. And if you fulfill your role, fine, right? But then there's like 1 or 2 people lacking a team, you feel pissed at them, right? So that's why it's quite sweaty. And Battlefield, it feels like, oh, if I just want to have fun in a tank all game long, right? I'm just going to do it, and nobody's going to care. Yeah, that's...
Okay, so we got the question in that, and it's going to be Lewis's Leopold's question. Will the Wooting 60HE V2 have new keycaps?
Yes.
And the answer to that is yes, it will. We are bringing out new keycap sets, and specifically the difference is 2 things. One, it's going to have the compatibility for the split spacebar, so it'll have a couple of extra keys with that. And then the second thing is that the spacebar itself is going to have little pieces of foam inside it. That's something that we started implementing on the pre-built keycaps, or pre-built 80HEs and 60HEs as well. But the keycap sets will have that come standard as well.
Yes.
But beyond that, the keycaps aren't actually different. They're just the slight compatibility tweak. And these aren't going to be launched as a new product either. It's going to be a running change. So when the old ones run out, then the new ones will come in. And currently, the expectation is that most of the different language keycap sets in different colors will make that transition during the month of October. So they'll be making that change a little bit ahead of when the expectation is for the keyboards to be ready to be sold.
Yeah. So best settings for Fortnite. I just want to tap on that.
Default settings.
Yeah, well, I would say just crank your graphics all the way to ultra and epic and 4K if you wanted to support this, because at least visually it's then a very pleasing game. Audio, I would recommend put it at like 30 or 25% because...
And voice chat off, that's a critical one.
That's a critical one if it hasn't in the game. And why you want your audio a little bit lower is because it really helps with your hearing in the long term, right? Because you don't want to be like deaf when you're 50 like me. Well, I'm not 50 yet, but I'm already deaf, so...
What is that ringing noise I hear? Oh, that's just tinnitus speaking, sorry.
Tinnitus from all the PTSD, yeah. So definitely, so graphics, the highest you can pump it, and your PC supports it. I mean, don't believe this, oh, you need 60 FPS, everything above 30 is fine.
No, 30 FPS is plenty.
Just crank it up visually, because it needs to be a feast for your eyes, but volume, a little bit lower, That's it. Good. Okay.
All right, that's good. Good point to wrap it on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today.
Yeah, and now
we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's wave and smile, Mark. So.